Hello and welcome to the Shooting the Bull podcast here on Spotify. I'm Keith Kokinda, YouTube play-by-play announcer for the Worcester Bulls. Remember to watch us we'll catch this podcast on Spotify along with all the other ones we've done this season. Watch us live on YouTube as well. And of course, our Instagram channel at Worcester Bulls Hockey. Bulls coming off a 3-2 loss in Toledo. We have with us Nathan Shootin on the comeback trail, and Derek Whitaker. Derek, I was all set to start with you, talking about being a goalie and not having played yet, preparation, stuff like that. And I'm still going to get to that at some point. But first, you just got a promotion.
Yeah, pretty neat to kind of see some hard work get recognized here and there. It's not always about that. Coming into the team, I was just trying to find a way to make an impact, even when I'm not playing. And I think it's a good message to send to the kids. You might not be playing right now, but find a way to support the team, help the team, do whatever it takes to get your team the W, whether it's on or off the ice. And that's what I've been trying to do. And, hockey can be a tough business, and I've got a little bit of that business background. And I was just really trying to leverage anything that I could to make sure that the team is successful. We can continue on. We'll be here for years to come and support the community. And I guess the promotion's just a result of doing what I can.
Yeah, Derek is now the team's general manager. And you spoke about your business background. What in your background do you think you're going to be able to use as strengths in this new position?
Well, I actually have an MBA.
Okay.
And I used to teach some marketing classes over at Adrian College, so I can definitely bring a little bit of that marketing experience there. I've had a couple businesses myself, so I do website hosting and optimization as a side business, and I actually have a startup that I'm working on right now called EventPin. And just being involved in that startup, you kind of see how everything what it takes to just start something from the ground up and roll it into something. And that's exactly what a new hockey team like the Bulls is. It operates exactly like a startup. So being in that space already, I kind of know what to expect and how to adapt to things on the fly, how to take an abstract point of view on certain topics that other people might not get to see just from the experience, and really try and leverage that for success.
I'm going to surprise you a little bit here, Derek. I've been on the Adrian College campus a couple of times.
Back when I was at hockey rink there.
Yeah, well, I didn't get to see the hockey rink. All I saw was the in the music department, the auditorium and the rehearsal rooms. There was part of a big orchestra festival encompassing schools from Ohio and Michigan. When I was in high school, they would bring all these top-notch orchestra people in and from high schools across both states and have a weekend festival culminated with a concert. So I've been there a couple of times. And fortunately, it was nice weather for both of them. But you mentioned your teaching experience as well. Is that has to be something that has to be good in this position with this team, as you said, being a startup in an area that really isn't known for hockey that much?
Yeah, it definitely helps. I can provide a little bit of coaching to different people trying to help out a lot of our volunteers and kind of give them a little bit of guidance on things that we can try and new areas to get into. I think the big takeaway is when I taught, I wasn't a conventional teacher. So I kind of didn't care if they got rid of me or not. So I was more always geared towards trying to get the kids ready for coming into the real world. So I had a bunch of real world experience, and I noticed that the students, in my opinion, weren't quite ready for it. So I was hitting them hard and fast with just real life stuff, applying it to the material. And I think that's kind of what I can bring to the team here. And I'm trying to do the best that I can. Not only with like game day operations and the business side, but also with the players. I think it's important that sometimes the players need to understand the business side of hockey as well. We're not quite the NHL where you can separate that. And I think it's important to our players as well as the community to know that our players understand what it takes to run a business like this, because they should have a stake in the team. And, I think players in this league should have a stake in the success of the team instead of sitting back saying, hey, volunteers, you go make this work for us. Let's all be a team, both in hockey and on the business side.
Well, you talk about the players, and I think you bring up something I was hoping we'd get into. Being a goalie, obviously, I say I'm a football goalkeeper myself. We see the game as it's being played a little bit differently than everybody else. Do you see that as being advantageous to seeing, as you said, as the business side of things in terms of your player relations, which is a role you've had since the start of the franchise?
Yeah, I think it is pretty important to be able to have that full field of view. So, players that are skating around on the ice, they only can really see what's in front of them. I get to see what's in front of them and behind them. Really, there's nothing that I don't see unless that puck goes behind the net, and then I still have to see that. So my field of vision when I'm playing the game is quite large. So when I stepped into my business side roles in the Bulls, my field of vision was quite large, and it stays large. And being a player and also having some tap ins to the business side, I can relay a lot of information to the players so they don't have to get blindsided when certain business decisions have to be made. I can ease them into it and help them understand, and hopefully it helps ease our team to not have knee-jerk reactions when it comes to players versus business that other teams that don't quite have that experience would run into. So, when bad things come, or, if we get into a crisis, we kind of can be all hands on deck rather than, oh man, I can't believe this is happening. Everything's on fire. We can take a look at it from a level head, solve the problem, and move on.
Talk about player decisions. One that had to be made, but was a good decision to have to make was the ability to bring back Nathan Shootin into the team and into the lineup. I played a couple of games after that injury in preseason. Nathan, welcome aboard, and it's great to have you back on the ice. When I'm sure if more than a few people, including yourself, may have thought you might never put the skates on again.
Yeah, no. Great to be back. No, I knew the second I wouldn't stop. I knew I'd be back out immediately.
In terms of I don't want to go too much into detail in terms of the injuries concerned, but the rehab process. What kind of what will you be given, and what kind of timelines were you being given by the doctors and your physiotherapists in terms of rehabbing, not just to get back to normal everyday life, but to be able to play hockey again?
I mean, they obviously weren't too excited about it. When I called my doctor for my final review, he answered the phone and he said, "So how's hockey been?" He's like, I figured you weren't listening to me already. You'd be skating by now. And no, but luckily I was not. I went out with the Bulls the first practice after I got cleared. But yeah, they just my last appointment was early December, and now it's just follow up as needed, and I'm just kind of doing my own thing and feeling it out,
Yeah, I know from reading about other athletes who have gone through these traumatic injuries, sometimes they cross paths with doctors, orthopedists, physiotherapists, what have you, who aren't always used to dealing with the mentality of someone who is an athlete. And as Derek said, this isn't the NHL, obviously, but the professional athlete attitude is there for all you guys. It's obvious. Did you run across anything like that during your rehab and recovery?
Yeah, kind of like Derek said, and I'll piggyback off of that. Like this at the end of the day is a business, and especially my part in the game is to put butts in the seats in Worcester, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, the second I was in the hospital in Pittsburgh, I knew that this was the next step and the right thing to do. So, just as quick and as safely and comfortably as we could do it, we've just been doing it, and I hope people see it and it's inspiring to others and to get out there and do those things.
Now, going back to playing, Derek, you haven't had a chance to do that yet this season. Goaltending's been pretty good defensively. The team has been doing fairly well, I think. A couple exceptions, one of them being Ridgetown, which of course has been lighting people up like pinball machines all season long. You guys actually had a couple pretty good games against them. But as a goalie in particular, compared to a skater, what's it like in terms of the mentality as well as the physical preparation, in terms of being ready just in case something comes up at the last moment, because the availability can change in 24 hours in this league.
Yeah, I think it's really important to always be prepared. For me, I haven't had to go out there yet. I haven't even had to dress, which I don't think is a terrible thing because it lets me focus on some other things, but I am ready to go whenever need be. I don't really, I'm in an interesting position right now where it's like, I think it'd be cool to dress, but I don't necessarily want to play as a starter. Like, put me in if I'm needed, but I kind of play with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, so I can see myself getting kind of taken out pretty quick just because I get really aggressive and I'm really protective of the crease. I have a different play style. Some of the guys kind of know I like to talk and get into the mix a little bit. But I also don't want to let my team down. And I think we have 3 of the best goaltenders on our roster, which is why we're so deep right now and why I have just no issues, being the guy in the background right now. And maybe I'll suit up and take the bench for a couple games here and there. But I have no interest in taking a spot away from the 3 guys ahead of me in the depth chart just because they're playing so good right now. And you got to put the team first instead of the individual.
Yeah, going into the games at the weekend, Jack Hudick and Rob Holden and Jack Hudick were 1-2 in save percentage. Holden qualified as a result of the win against Thousand Island last week. He hadn't played enough games for minutes to qualify yet. But you talk about that combative style. Hey, don't knock it. It worked for Billy Smith, and they won 4 Stanley Cups with the Islanders in the 1980s. He had that kind of style too, and it fit well with that team when you had guys like a Bob Nystrom or Clark Gillis, also guys who weren't afraid to mix it up as well. Oh, they had obviously had great players such as the late Mike Bossy and Dennis Popman, the captain. Nathan, as far as you're concerned with the team performance, what are you seeing? Even though you've only been in for 2 games so far, what are you seeing in terms of what the team's strengths are so far?
We just play a great like meat and potatoes hockey, like Bulls hockey. We say, we do the good things well and we do the bad things not so much. I think I said on that Saturday night. Yeah, like when we get going, we're on our horse and nothing can stop us. And I think that's what's really good about us.
Yeah, Bulls coming off a 3-2 loss in Toledo. You mentioned Jack Hudick. He played a very solid game, I thought, and the offense just didn't come through. Again, the power play has been a sore spot all season long, and I know, Nate, I don't remember you getting much of any power playing time in that game against Toledo, but I'm sure that's something Tim Sizemore is going to continue to work on.
I'm out there. I draw the penalties, and then I get off.
Channeling his inner Paul Bissonnette there. That's what he's doing right there. And Derek, I'll go back to you for looking at the business side of things, and you talk about the community, the Worcester community and Wayne County in general. The fan support and the fan interaction, the fan reaction have really got to be a great source of pride for you, and also probably makes your job a little bit easier in that respect too.
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing that we have right now in front of us is making sure that people know that we're there and that they want to come see us play. We give them a good level of hockey. We give them good production during the games, and we want people to come out and just have a lot of fun. And I think this is a really, really fun team. And if nobody's ever seen hockey before, this is such an amazing place to start because our team has everything. And every game that we've played so far has had everything that represents hockey. And you just don't get any better than that. So we're really just pushing to try and get the word out there to the community, get involved, find different partnerships with different organizations to help them understand. We're working on trying to get the College of Worcester involved as well. And just bring people out from different corners and different walks of life to see what we love about the game, because we know, we love this game for a specific reason. And we believe that just about anybody can find a reason to love this game just as much as us. And so come out, try it out, see what we're about. and then they might be interested in, and this can roll down to youth sports too. I think it's really important that we put focus on our youth sports and make sure that kids have something to look forward to. Kids in sports grow up to be very great individuals.
Yeah, and that's a great point you bring up there, because we've seen considerable involvement with the Worcester Oilers, the minor organization there in Worcester. Some of their kids have been out there as getting shoveling the snow during breaks, helping out between periods after the Zamboni's gone through, things like that. In terms of playing, Nathan, I think if I remember right, you've only played one home game so far, but what's it been like with that fan support you have out there when you're playing?
Oh man, it's unbelievable. The fan support's great. I mean, like you said, the kids that are out there shoveling the snow and they're talking to us in between the periods, like it's so fun. The glass is right there. They definitely hear me yelling. And then at the home game, it was my daughter's birthday. Like the organization, as Derek was saying, it is a business, and it's so accommodating, like to the families, and showing like that the organization cares about the players as much as the players care about being out there for the fans. And it's just the community is great.
In terms of the schedule going forward, it's been a pretty thin schedule here in 2025, but that's starting to pick up now. Had the game in Toledo, got back-to-back up in Buffalo in the upcoming weekend. How much improvement do you see possible, Nathan, with this game, with games coming a little more heavier in 2026 as opposed to 2025 with all the breaks you had?
Yeah, one of our biggest setbacks is being a new team and being a new organization. Every touch on the ice we get is everybody's a sponge out there. We're all learning each other. We're all off the ice. Like it's a great vibe in the locker room. I think just moving forward, just getting that team cohesiveness, everything will come together, and we'll just keep plugging, and so they'll come.
And Derek, he mentioned team cohesiveness, and one thing I've noticed about being around the team before games is that this seems to be already a pretty close group. Would you agree that's true?
Yeah. Everybody's out here and we know what we're about. And honestly, I haven't seen a group of people come together this fast in a very long time. And quite honestly, I think throughout the season, especially as we play more games more frequently, we're only going to get closer. We've had some really cool opportunities. Like I live in Toledo and we just played in Toledo. So I was able to put one or two of our guys up for the overnight just so they didn't have to drive back home wherever they were going. And I actually have a synthetic ice rink in my basement. So I had some guys over, we were working on our hands and shooting some pucks down in the basement off the goal and just having a good old time. And then we went to the game. So, I mean, everybody's out here. We're communicating with each other. We're trying to get linked up to do a little bit more special activities. Guys, go out of their way just to hang out or meet up and do different things. We even have a team practice that's not put on by the team, where we go and buy our own ice just so the guys can get together and play more.
That's where you go up to Brooklyn, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was telling the last podcast, Brooklyn's not far from my old neighborhood. I grew up about 7 miles south of there, so I know the territory pretty well. Been in there a few times. I'm sure it looks a little bit different, but this is the Shooting the Bull podcast, the official podcast for the Worcester Bulls of the American Premier Hockey League. Bulls will be trucking up to Buffalo this coming weekend to close out the 2025 portion of the schedule, take on the Buffalo Tempest Saturday at 8 p.m. and then Sunday at noon. Go to the Buffalo Tempest YouTube channel to be able to watch that game live. Of course, you can also watch all the Bulls' previous games on demand on our YouTube channel. Again, all of our previous podcasts, Shooting the Bull podcasts, are available here on Spotify. And, of course, the Instagram account, Worcester Bulls Hockey, to follow us, all the social media posts. Ben Ickes, thank you very much for everything you do as far as the technical aspects, not only of this, but our YouTube games. Also want to have to give a shout out to Cade Krakus, who does the radio play-by-play. He's been selected as one of the top hockey broadcasters by Intercollegiate Sports. That's a organization that helps support broadcasters who are still in university and just getting into their first steps in the professional ranks. So, Kay, want to shout out to him. We crossed paths a couple weeks ago, state football semifinals over in Sydney. He was broadcasting for another outlet, and he was right next to my broadcast outlet, as a matter of fact. And of course, thanks to Nathan Shootin and Derek Whitaker, now the general manager of the Bulls. Thanks, guys, for staying up late and coming, especially you, Derek, coming back for your game that you had this evening. We really do appreciate that. Again, I'm Keith Kokinda. Join us for when the calendar turns to 2026, January 3rd and 4th, the West Michigan Sentinels come to town. Go check us out at the Alice Noble Ice Arena on January 3rd and 4th. So on behalf of everyone with the Worcester Bulls, thank you very much. We'll see you next time here on Spotify on Shooting the Bull.